Give me a second, Tom. Give me a second, okay, guys? 好，我先调试一下，OK？好，hold on. Okay, so can I please? Alma, can you talk? 你好，你说话可以说。你说话，我你说话，你说话，你说话，Alma. Hello. Keep talking. Hello. Yeah. This house is that we 在外面看一下，OK，就是在外面有电视。我看过对你有些。I'm young. Give me that. Three, two, one. Just need to. Go rest it now. With Nate. Why you? One. You listen. 没有什么，我发给你。Oh, it's this one. Yes. Yeah. But this looks like a one. You are. So I share the link. Okay, copy. Then I can send it to. You take that one. You give me one. No, you can put facing that way. 可以让我发给你了，你再看一下。They can't see. I saw this. It's okay. Let's do. Yeah, we'll build that after this. 看得见吗？你们那个字？要不然看得见吗？要不然试一下。看见吗？我看见。OK 了吗？What's that? Okay, so 那你就顺便再我们让Lucas 来介绍吧。Is that okay? Hold on, Lucas, give me a second. Okay, ready? No. 等一下，我把我的这个给出来。
Okay. Welcome everyone to the final round of the GreatTalk debate competition. Today we have the intermediate round. We have intermediate red against intermediate blue. So yeah. Probably. Wait, before we begin, I think I'll just first do a few more introductory things regarding timing. So you guys have 4-minute speeches, and so how the timing is going to work is at the first minute mark, I'm going to clap one time. At the 3-minute mark, I'm going to clap one more time, and at the 4-minute mark, I will clap 2 times, showing that you should end your speech as soon as possible. But I'll let you finish your last sentence. The motion reads, this House believes that school camps should be mandatory. We'll prepare the right motions, right? Okay.
Wait. Yeah, I think should be fine right now. Is it clear? I don't know. Okay, yeah.
This House believes school camps should be mandatory.
We have to turn off the house releases. A bit of fine right now. It's the 3 minutes. I already wrote down all my stuff. Okay,
yeah.
Ready? Here we go.
For the joy to invite the first affirming speaker to begin their team's debate. You're ready.
I'll be addressing 2 key points. Camps build vital life skills and camps reduce social isolation and depression. First, camps build vital life skills. School camps help students develop important skills like teamwork, decision-making, and resilience by facing real challenges together. These experiences teach them to help to cooperate, solve problems, and become more confident on the outside classroom. At camp, students are placed in real-life situations. They cook meals, solve problems, and live alongside their peers. They navigate group challenges, resolve conflicts, and manage emotions in unfair environments. These hands-on lessons in independence and leadership. For example, when a student forgets their sleeping bag, they must find solutions on when a team disagrees or how to pitch a tent, delegate, and compromise. These skills transfer directly into university group projects, job interviews, and everyday life. The opposition offers comfort, and convenience. We offer growth and preparation for the real. Yes, camp might be uncomfortable, but that's the point. Growth really happens inside your comfort zone. Every student deserves these life lessons, not just those whose parents signed the form. That's why camp must be mandatory. Second, camp reduces social isolation and depression. Social isolation is a major cause of depression in young people. School camps can reduce by giving students a chance to connect with others in a meaningful face-to-face way at school. Social groups are fixed. Many students feel invisible, excluded, or lonely. Camp breaks this pattern. Mixed cabins and team activities create healthy and social interaction. Students share tents, pass around food on the campfire, and talk without screens. Friendship at camp is formed on a shared experience, not popularity. And this doesn't end after camp. Students return with stronger social ties, more confidence, and a sense of belonging. The opposition might say, don't force kids who feel isolated to go. But not only it deepens the isolation, the most disconnected students are often the ones who benefit the most. Our model supports mental health and leaves them it to chance. If if we know school camps help with depression and loneliness, we have a responsibility to ensure every student gets that opportunity. Before I finish, let's address what we expect from the negative team. First, they might say not every student feels comfortable to going to camp. That's true, but camps don't have the same for everyone. Schools are already supporting students with learning differences, anxiety, or physical needs. That's the same support applies to camp. Avoiding camp doesn't solve the problem. It reinforces anxiety. Facing challenges in a supportive way is how resilience is built. That's what education is about. To summarize up everything I just said, camps build life-changing skills that prepare students for the real world. Camps reduce loneliness and improve mental health by creating connections. The opposition rules keep students comfortable, but at the cost of resilience and connection and equality. We're not debating about tents and marshmallows. We're debating about whether to give opportunities to grow or let someone miss out. That's why we proudly support the motion. School camps should be mandatory. Thank you.
Great. I'm going to invite the second debating speaker to continue their team's case.
Firstly, I would like to start with rebuttal. The first affirming speaker stated that camp teaches life skills, but these skills are better taught in structured programs, home economics, budgeting lessons, or Duke of Edinburgh courses, where they are practiced and reinforced over time. One off-camp experience is too short to build lasting competence, and often skills are learned up and are simplified for entertainment rather than real-life application. Now, moving on to my speech. Imagine you are a student whose family cannot afford school camp. Your family sacrificed not eating for 2 days just to pay for the camp. Everyone is happy, excited for camp, but you are not. You don't even feel comfortable going into a new environment. Imagine being forced to go away, even feel scared, just not ready to be away from home. If school camps are not mandatory, none of this is likely to happen. My first point is that not everyone can afford school camp. School camps usually cost a lot of money. For many families, especially those with low income, this can be a very big burden. If school camps are mandatory, if school camps are made mandatory, it forces every student to join, even if their family can simply not afford it. This can cause stress and embarrassment for students whose parents struggle to pay. They might even feel left out or ashamed compared to classmates who can easily pay the fees. They might even get bullied if other people find out. Also, when camps are mandatory, families might have to make difficult choices and sacrifices, like skipping bills or other expenses just to afford their child's camp. This is very unfair because education should be accessible to all students without putting financial pressure on families. When school camps are supposed to be fun, a student might spend the whole time thinking about their family's condition. My whole family stopped drinking water just so I could go to this camp, they might think. Instead of enjoying the time, they keep thinking about their family's condition and how much they sacrificed just because it was mandatory. No one should experience that. Instead of making school camps mandatory, schools should make camps optional. So if you simply cannot afford it, it's totally fine. My second point is that it's a student's choice if they want to go to camp or not. Going to a school camp is a big deal for many students. It means being away from home, trying new activities, and spending time with classmates overnight. This can be a first time for many students. It should be the student's choice whether they want to go or not. Making camps mandatory takes away the choice that forces every student to participate, even if they don't feel ready, or comfortable, or interested. Some students might feel scared and worry about sleeping away from home, being in a new environment. Forcing them to attend camp can cause stress or fear, and everyone is different. Some students might love camp, the environment, spending time with friends, and learning new skills, while others might not enjoy camp and choose to spend time with family instead and stay home. We should all respect a child's choice. So, in conclusion, put yourself in a child's shoes. A child that cannot afford camp and doesn't feel comfortable in a new environment. So, in conclusion, this house strongly opposes to the motion because not everyone can afford camp and it's a student's choice. So, stand with me when I say school camps should not be mandatory.
Great, I'd like to thank you for this speech. I'd like to invite the second affirming speaker to continue their team's case.
First, I'm going to start off with my rebuttal. So the first speaker said that some families can't afford to go in camp. Well, if camps are mandatory, they'll be treated as part of the education system, meaning government and school budgets will plan for them, much like they do for sport facilities or tech labs. Many organizations already offer sponsorships, grants, or partnerships with outdoor education programs. Schools can access these more easily when camps are standardized or mandatory. Now I'll start off with my 2 points. Firstly, school camps can help kids learn more teamwork and social skills. School camps are made to help kids learn how to work with other people and learn responsibility. They provide opportunities to bond with other classmates through group activities. Kids who just joined this year can find new friends and learn more about their classmates by working together and staying together. Imagine if you just joined a new and you lost all your friends. Then school camps can help you find some new friends. If people could choose not to go, then it will be harder for the new kids to find new friends and settle in, as if they will have to find other friends that already have friends to play with. School camps have leadership opportunities. Students are placed in different groups that they might normally be with at school. This forces them to adapt and learn about everyone's strengths and encourages more teamwork. Most children are shy and less confident, but school camps can let them discover hidden strengths, which can boost their confidence and leadership. My second point is that school camps can help kids learn through real life experiences, not just by sitting in a classroom. Let's be honest, sometimes schoolwork can feel boring, especially when you're just reading about things or looking at pictures in a book. Camps change that completely. For example, instead of writing about ecosystems from a worksheet, students can actually walk through a forest, see wildlife up close, and experience nature with their own eyes. That kind of learning is way more exciting, and it sticks with you because you're doing it, not just reading about it. On top of that, school camps teach practicals that we don't always get to learn at school. When you're out at camp, you have to figure things out, like how to build a shelter, how to work in a team, or how to stay calm when something unexpected happens. You learn how to solve real problems and think on your feet. These are things we'll actually need in the real world, and school camps is one of the best ways to develop. So, if we really care about helping students understand what they're learning and giving them skills that matter outside the classroom, then school camps shouldn't just be an option. This should be something every student gets to experience. That's why I believe school camps should be mandatory. Thank you.
I thank you for the speech. I'd now like to invite the second again speaker to continue their team case.
I'll first begin with a rebuttal. The second speaker of the feminine team has said that camps develop independence and resilience. That being away from home teaches independence and resilience. But independence isn't built by throwing every student into the deep end, especially those who are not ready for such a big leap. It's built gradually through challenges we choose to face, not ones that we are forced to. For many students, being pushed into an overnight camp causes anxiety and reduces confidence. Schools already offers resilience building through leadership roles, time management, and academic challenge. Our approach builds genuine independence without risking students' well-being. The second speaker also has said that camps provide unique outdoor learning experiences. This is simply not true. Schools can provide rich outdoor experiences through day trips, science excursions, and environmental projects, all with the costs and risks of an overnight stay. And for students from rural or nature-rich areas, these experiences are nothing new. Science supports outdoor learning that is accessible and adaptable to students, not a one-size-fits-all camp. Now, moving on to my speech. Imagine sending hundreds of students into the bush, away from immediate medical help, trusting that nothing will go wrong. Now, imagine doing this every single year without a choice. As a negative team, we believe that making school camps mandatory is not only risky, but ignores the students' needs and situation. The second speaker, I will prove that camps pose serious safety risks, and I'll also explain why the affirmative arguments for they can even fully stand. Now, moving on to my first point, safety risks. Camps take away students from the controlled, well-resourced environment of school. Even with supervision, risks are high. There could be accidents like falls, bands, broken bones, and even drownings happening more often at outdoor activities. There could also be medical emergencies, like students with asthma, allergies, or other conditions may be out from treatment. And there could also be unpredictable conditions. For example, weather changes, wild animals, and also natural disasters. Now, yes, life has risks, but mandatory camps force every student into an environment with those risks right, without giving families the right to say no. This is not fair. Now, resilience can be built elsewhere. School projects, sports teams, drama productions, volunteering, student leadership roles, all of those challenge students, teach them how to adapt, and push them out of their comfort zones. So we must ask ourselves, is it worth forcing every child into an environment with an elevated risk just for benefits that can be achieved elsewhere? The answer is no. Mandatory camps would remove choices from families and place unnecessary risk on students. This is why we strongly believe that camps should not be mandatory in schools.
I thank the speaker for listening. I'd like to invite the third debating speaker to conclude their team's debate.
They started for the first point. The first speaker said that everything from camp can be learned in programs like economics and groceries. Well, do camps really teach groceries? Like they said budgeting, but in camp, you're not budgeting. You're not going to buy the resources. The camp already provides that. And even so, they also said that there's safety risk, and you may be hours away from medical care. That is plainly wrong. To operate a camp, you must be next or near a medical facility, and if not, you always have someone like a medic or a doctor on site to help you. They also said it's unfair to make students endure emotional stress.
Yes, camp may be emotionally challenging at first, but the skills students gain outweigh the discomfort. Being away from home teaches children how to self-soothe, communicate their needs, and rely on a broader support network beyond their families. These are vital life skills that are hard to learn in classrooms. In fact, young people who attend overnight camps often return with increased independence, social maturity, and resilience. Avoiding camp because of the risk of homesickness removes one of the few opportunities students have to safely build these traits before adulthood. They also said that you can also just take day trips. Well, to actually have the full experience and see actual, because when you're learning in the forest, of course some are nocturnal, and you won't get the experience of lighting marshmallows around the campfire or doing anything fun. They also said that you have no personal choice. Education is not free for all. It involves structured learning. Just like students can't just opt out of math or just can't opt out of English. They shouldn't just opt out of a structured development program like camp. School camp fosters social equality. Optional camps leave behind students who are least confident. Making it mandatory ensures everyone is given the equal worth opportunities, especially those who wouldn't choose it for themselves, but benefit greatly. Benefit greatly. Many young adults don't yet understand what's beneficial for their development. Adults have a role in guiding experiences that build life skills. They also said, uh, they always say that it's not going to make them resilient. It obviously is. It's going to because well, their point makes no sense. Being with adults who guide you throughout experiences, like learning to light a fire if you're lost, or building shelter. It builds resilience. Just be so you can learn that just so you can learn that you'll be fine in the forest if you're ever lost. They also said that, and another thing is, they said that it should be optional. Well, have you ever thought about the teachers? Some teachers may be gone on trips. Like, what if the English teacher or the math teachers on camp? So, and you have substitutes. But remember, substitutes aren't always reliable. Some substitutes are lazy or do nothing at all and just let you goof off the whole time, which is not good. As you might as well go to camp where you can actually learn things. In conclusion, not only does camp improve teamwork and social skills, but it also makes friendships. It also opens up opportunities for you if you've learned a skill you like. It also teaches you vital skills from making fires to learning how to build shelters. Each camp is different. Some are more focused on water sports or more on fun. That's what makes camp special. Each time there's more opportunities and more stores to be open. That's why, as a third speaker of the affirmative team, I think that's why the affirmative team has won this debate.
I'm going to thank you for that speech. I'd like to invite the third debating speakers to today's space.
I'll start with my rebuttals first. The affirmative told us that campus built teamwork and social skills, but teamwork is not something that magically appears when you sleep in a tent. It's built over time in familiar environments where trust is already forming, like group projects, sports teams, and community volunteering. In fact, forcing students who are shy, anxious, or who are already facing bullying into an intense overnight environment can actually harm their confidence and social ability. Real teamwork comes from respect and choice, not pressure. And the other side said that camp lets students try new activities, but a 3-day trial of rock climbing or kayaking is not enough to spark a lasting passion unless students have of knowing access afterwards. Schools can offer taster days, clubs, and optional weekend programs for those who are interested without wasting resources on students who have no desire to take part. Choice means students try new things because they want to, not because they're forced. Lastly, the affirmative told us that making camps mandatory ensures equality, but equality is not about making everyone do the same thing. It's about ensuring everyone has the opportunity to choose. Forcing attendance removes student agency and ignores personal, cultural, or health reasons to opting out. The huge cost for making camps compulsory for every student should be better spent on programs that benefits all students every day of the year. And thirdly, The third, I've said that camp gets student independence, but camp does not provide independence. It is just learning to live somewhere else and have fun. The affirmative wants us to believe that making camps mandatory is the only way to give students skills, friendship, and challenges. But the real question isn't whether camp is good. Camp can be good. It's whether it must be compulsory. And on the three biggest clashes, the negative says clearly wins. The first clash is about skills and education. The affirmative said camp teaches independence, resilience, and teamwork. But as we've shown, these skills can be learned throughout regular school activities, sports, group projects, and excursions, without the high cost, stress, or risk of forcing students into an overnight stay. We would clash because the affirmative never proved that camps are the only or even best way to teach these skills. Our model achieves the same outcomes year round, without the downside. The second clash is about inclusivity and students' choice. The affirmative said mandatory camps ensure equality, but equality isn't making everyone do the same thing, as I mentioned before. It's making sure everyone has the same equal chance to succeed. Students with medical needs, religious restrictions, or financial limits are disadvantaged by a compulsory model, no matter how much the school tries to adapt. We win this clash because we approach is truly inclusive. It respects personal circumstances and gives every student the choice to participate in the way that works for them. Now the last clash is about safety and well-being. The affirmative argue camps improve health and well-being, but we've shown that camps carry unavoidable risks from injury to bullying, and that being away from home can cause anxiety for many students. These risks are simply not present in day-based or local outdoor activities. We won this class too because the affirmative ignored these risks and failed to show why they are worth taking. Our model protects students while still offering outdoor learning. Our arguments provided a balanced and realistic approach that prioritized student well-being, inclusivity, and effective learning opportunities. Throughout the school year, we showed that it's possible to support growth and development without forcing attendance at a costly and sometimes stressful event. The affirmative vows to equality address the diverse challenges students face, including financial constraints, cultural differences, and emotional stresses linked to mandatory camps. They also ignore the practical difficulties schools encounter when enforcing such policies, which could leave many students unfairly disadvantaged. For these reasons, we strongly oppose the motion that school camps should be mandatory. As we approach better respect individuals, their circumstances, while delivering real and lasting benefits to all students. Thank you.
I thank Exceed for their speech. Thank her today, and she gave me a couple minutes to get my information.
What quotes, guys? GG's.
Was it? No.
It is a grocery. Grocery. Yeah, because you did say you said it, but you said budgeting. How do you learn budgeting? Oh, we get just in camp. Yeah.
Like you ever tried that Mr. Mother?
I have. I have.
I must be in the chores.
No, but you did for like a while, and then I think
No, we're not. No.
I'm scared. What do you like such a little? You do what for? What'd you say? Nothing.
No.
Hold on.
Yeah, we're deep right now.
William, Vincent, Ryan. So can you be quiet? Thank you.
Okay. So how we're going to finish education is I'm going to start with some general pieces of feedback, explain the results, and then explain how I came to those results. So starting with some general pieces of feedback, I think the first one is especially because like you guys have limited prep now. It's even more important the notes you write aren't word for word, right? The kind of thing that you write in your 1 hour 30 time, it's more so having like ideas, like and they logically flow one after the other. And it's even more crucial that you actually understand what you're talking about, right? And so like part of this, I noticed that you guys all had your speech like papers in your face basically, right? I couldn't really see most of your eyes all the time. And that's clearly because you guys are writing your speeches like word for word and you're reading off the script, right? Which is like really not good for your like future debating careers. One, because like that's generally not a nice style of speaking, right? And two, in the future, when you have like points of information where people can stand up and ask you questions during your speech, it's really tough to have them word for word because you lose your place really easily. So it's far better to have your ideas out very clearly, one after the other. You know, you have your mechanisms just like listed out. You have your impacts listed out, right? Instead of having them word for word. So that means that when they ask you a question, you look up your page, you look up the adjudicator, and you look right down, you can easily track where your speech is, right? This also means that it saves you a lot of time during your preparation because you're not writing every word anymore. You're just writing the rough ideas, and you're kind of just doing with like impromptu, right? To these head notes, right? So that you can end up saving more time during your prep. You can maybe write more mechanisms, you can write more ideas, spend more time planning, right? And so I think it's really helpful once you start getting used to prep limited time prep that you aren't writing everything with work. If you have 2 weeks of time, fine, right? You have 2 weeks of time to like type out your speech and whatever. But since you only have 1 hour 30, which is really not a lot of time, you should just be writing things like that. And also put your paper on the table because then you just look up, look down, and not like because you just have ideas for everything, right? That's just one piece of advice. Second thing, and I think like we might have forgotten a few about key like debating skills. So just ideally like continue doing signposting. Some of you guys just completely forgot to signpost at some points. Like in the beginning as well, which is kind of like scary. You guys just said like I'll just rebuttal and then that's the end of your signposting, and that's not the complete signpost. Especially because you guys have limited prep, it's even more important that you guys have a very clear argument. Because sometimes like you just get so mixed up with like trying to write down your things word for word, you forget to like actually go back to the very basic skills. Oh, I gotta make sure my speech is clear. I need to make sure I have mechanism here. I need to make sure I have impact here. Just like remember your key skills. Don't forget them. Because oftentimes they can carry you to winning. Just you can just spam the good skills and you can like win. Just keep weighing and keep impacting. You keep road building. You can win just off like skills alone, even if your speech can. But yeah, so without further ado, I'll just go to my results now. So I gave this speech with a close but clear margin. Wait, just to be clear,
Yeah. Okay, so hold your breath.
Hi. Without further ado, I'd like to announce the results now. And I think this was a really close, clear debate. It was a really actually nice debate, especially when you guys only have 1 hour 30. But I gave this to the debating side. This is Remy. But regardless of who won, I think it's important to know that you guys have thoroughly improved over the course of the past few rounds. I think you guys have given all really good quality speeches. Even like just barring my feedback, you guys actually did do quite well. Given that this is not exactly like your standard, this house of bad cats or like pets, something like that. Um, but I'll explain to you the points of clash that helped me come to this conclusion. So the first one, the thing is, in this debate, we actually addressed two kinds of skills, and I addressed them in two different points of clash. The first one is on life skills, right? The second one is on the more practical skills. And then finally, point of clash three is on socialization. right? Starting with life skills, we hear from Apper early on that you can build skills like resilience, independence, and leadership. And these are the three qualities that they keep bringing up over and over. To say that this is what camp builds, right? It builds character, it builds these kind of skills that are transferable to the adult world. And whilst I don't understand what this actually looks like in the adult world, because I think of that bit of impacting and like role building, I don't really think this is a challenge. I think Neg just agrees that camp does build these skills indeed, but they do also challenge that the alternatives exist, right? Alternatives like other programs, right? Like clubs, like what else did they mention? Charity work, right? Like they mentioned a lot of other alternatives that equally can develop these life skills, right? And I think this slight issue why I think app falls out on this case is because no one actually proves why one is more helpful or develops these skills to a higher quality than the other. And what this means is that I'm led to believe they're symmetrical on each side, right? That doing the dishes is equally as resilient building as going on a camp because nobody challenges it otherwise, right? If nobody says something, I can't assume anything, right? And because nobody actually proves that one is more helpful, I just have to assume that they're equal, right? That they both develop the resilience. And in that regard, it means that alternatives do exist, which sort of already puts that on a pretty back foot because if alternatives exist, why do I have to go to camp, right? Given all the harms that Nate also tries to push. So in the life skills aspect, I do think that camp is not necessarily the best field to develop life skills. Given that, practical skills is where I think camp does really well, right? Because I think app does a really good job explaining why camp uniquely develops practical skills, right? We talk about things like camping skills, building shelter, lighting a fire, living in a tent, right? These things are all like specific to camp, which of course Neg does not challenge. They don't tell me anything else that can develop and understandably so, right? Because people actively learn, right? But they gave an example about learning ecosystem, right? That you get more hands-on, practical, and most importantly, active learning at camp, which is something you can't really see as well on next side, right? And so in this regard, I do think that on practical skills, right? Camp is thoroughly better than any other alternative, especially because Neg doesn't actually tell me any other alternatives that can suffice to give this. What I don't quite understand exactly is how this is useful for the future, right? Because app tells me that learning these life skills are very transferable to the future in the adult world. But I don't quite understand how toasting marshmallows or building a shelter is necessarily helpful to the adult world. I do understand that you have more active learning, but I also don't get much impacting on what this actually looks like and what this means for the student, right? Sure, they have more active learning. Intuitively, I think that's a good thing, but I don't quite actually see how a student benefits more from active learning versus passive learning, like reading a book, right? And so this lack of impacting means I accept that you can develop these skills better, but I don't understand why I care about them in the same way that I care about leadership skills, like resilience, like independence, right? Final point of clash is on socialization, right? App tells me this is a great opportunity to build friends, especially if you're a new student who's just come to the school. And Nate tells me that it's far too overwhelming. It's the same as throwing someone to the deep end of a pool, right? And really, there's not much engagement between these two ideas. They sort of stand together uncontested, right? Because Nate doesn't do a solid enough job to explain why you can't build friendships in camps or why the alternatives also exist. Similarly, app doesn't tell me why it's not too overwhelming. In fact, app tells me, sure, in the short term, it might be a bit overwhelming, but that's the only way you can develop resilience. But given that in the first point of clash, that they told me you can build resilience in other places, I'm inclined to believe that a lot of students will be overwhelmed, at least on the first unit of camp. So really, what happens is students that can overcome this anxiety can build friendships and they can socialize better. But students that can't overcome this anxiety will simply just emotionally collapse, as Neg is basically saying. Right? They'll be overwhelmed, they'll be just way too anxious, and they're gonna lose it, right? These are the two sides of this like scenario. And I think that given that like the outcomes of Neg's like claim, it seems a little bit worse than making new friends. Especially because app tells me that a lot of emotionally like vulnerable people are going on these camps if it's mandatory to help them. I'm inclined to believe that these people are also likely to experience these outcomes of like emotionally like anxious and like mentally like destroyed. Right. So I think that on socialization, I don't think it's a clear victory, but I do think that next still likely takes this one. Just because like again, emotionally vulnerable people exist and they will likely collapse, which is a pretty bad outcome. So then I gave it to the next side. Congratulations to App with a solid finish. If there are any questions, you could ask me, and I have personal feedback. Do you have time for personal feedback?
This is probably after the press giving.
Yeah,
Is that okay?
that's-
Yeah.